in crunch time, baby. Or are we? Is it just going to be Death Stranding? Is that all we got to say? And call it Game of the Year? Call it good?
That's neither of us.
But could it? But could it?
You know what yours is.
But could it be?
No. No, it couldn't.
Brad Shoemaker completed it on Saturday and was on record Wednesday night. And I quote, "This is the best game Kojima has ever made."
That could be true, but that is not me.
You know what? Out of the games of Kojima's I've played, I agree with Brad.
Well, that's a incredibly small sample size, but okay.
It doesn't make it less true.
You've made it pretty clear that Claire Obscure is your game.
100%.
And I don't exactly know what mine is, but I've got like 3 or 4 games that all have a real good chance of taking it.
Is there any possibility in this day and age that I could get you to play that game before Game of the Year?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's not that I think it's a bad game. It's this.
Baldur's Gate?
Yeah. Like I already bought a game that I know you love that I should play someday and didn't get around to. I know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy that game.
By the way, I need to get that shit from you.
You can get the shit from me at any time. I think it might lock it all to.
No. Isn't there like, there's physical stuff that came with that? There was art. No, there's art and that's what I'm talking about. There's like art and shit in there. That's what we talked about. I wanted everything but the physical game. Oh, we've had a hot mic this whole time talking about this dumb shit.
Well, yeah, I'm not big on.
Well, it's only been for like 3 minutes, but we've been. The real stuff. Pull that up. Pull up the whatever that thing is you're holding on the Googles and see what it came with. Because I think it came with a couple of things that like I was gonna hang up. I'm pretty sure. You all can hear it. You might as well see it. That's the real thing here. Chase is looking up a hot fact for us really quick. We are trying to figure out, because it's unfortunately still sealed, and I'll let you guess why, because the wheel has not gotten it.
This is not the collector's. What is? Wait,
that is. Yeah.
No.
Yes.
The collector's edition comes with like a statue and shit inside. This doesn't have that.
There was we bought the.
No. This is not a thing. This is I got a different thing. I might have gotten like a deluxe or something.
So we're talking about.
Somebody tell me what the fuck this is.
Chase and I. All right. This is the Casual Hour. It's episode 446. We're going to tell you about the games we've been playing. I'm Bobby. Chase is here as well. It is November 13th. Chase and I were discussing the Baldur's Gate 3 version that he purchased. Whenever this was announced, Chase had yet to.
This is the deluxe edition.
Okay, I agree with that. Chase has still not played Baldur's Gate 3, but
No.
I've played it on PC, and they announced this deluxe physical version for the PlayStation 5 that had some cool little, tchotchkes and shit. I want all that shit.
I said, I don't really care, but I guess.
I said, hey, you buy the game at the normal MSRP, and I will pay you the difference for the deluxe version so I get the goodies. And I've been waiting on the goodies almost as much as I've been waiting on Chase to play it.
They've been here the whole time.
They've been there the whole time. My goodies have been held hostage.
Right, Bobby, would you like to know, or at least get refamiliarized with the quote-unquote goodies?
Yeah, give me the goodies.
That are apparently in this box. There are 32 stickers.
That sounds good.
There are 2 patches.
That sounds great.
There is a 600 by 180 millimeter world map
Hot.
that looks. I mean, in the image it looks
Hot.
burlappy, but I'm 100% sure it is
So do
not
I.
burlappy. There is a 3-disc original soundtrack.
I don't even know if I have a way to play that, so you might get to keep it.
Well, you can't put the. Can you put CDs into a PS5?
Yes. You can.
Well, I guess the ones with disc drives, I suppose.
Yeah. Yes.
It comes in this deluxe edition box, which is 200 by 240 by 55 millimeters.
I get that, right? I get the box.
If you want the box, take it. I don't
You know what? Hey, I'll trade you for the original Destiny PlayStation 4 Collector's Edition box.
I don't. Why would I want that?
Because you're nostalgic.
It comes with a Mind Flayer poster, which is 570 by 690
Hot.
millimeters. Is it?
Okay. This is the Mind Flayer.
And then what I get to keep is 2 discs on PS5, but 3 discs on Xbox.
Man.
Playable on disc on PC, CD key.
I don't know what it would take, but that should be one of your Chasey K Play series. Because you could have because you could have guests come on.
Stop! I would be the longest thing I would ever
Hear me out.
I played Super Robot Wars X for a lot of times.
You pig. But hear me out. You could absolutely do that as an ongoing thing. Mm-hmm. And because of the way the co-op works, you could have people just stop by and hang out with you, control one of your party members.
That sounds terrible. I don't want to hang out with
that. Sounds like a good time. All right.
I want to be here.
You got too much shit on you. This is episode 446 of the Casual Hour. It's What You've Been Playing. As I mentioned, I'm Bobby. That is Chase. And we're going to tell you about some new video games and a checking in of sorts on some of the new hardware announcements and software announcements in the industry. So some fun stuff this week. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, a game called Possessors. I'm going to talk a little bit about Arc Raiders. We're going to touch on the Steam hardware that got announced and that new PlayStation Portal software update. So stick around for all that, or leave and listen to the audio, which you will be able to find everywhere podcasts are on Friday mornings. Chase, before I tell you about these video games, I want to say I'm sorry because I picked I picked a bad game this week for us. Not bad. That's too mean. I picked a game that we did not enjoy. On Monday for our stream. We did a first at bat on, like, what was it? Death Finger Dice or Dead Finger Die, something like that.
Sure. Yeah, a billionaire finger collector simulator or whatever the fuck.
It was a little rough for us. Did not find it intuitive.
Yeah, we tried it. It was a decent experiment. It just didn't quite break our way. So
it did not.
You live and you learn.
You live and you learn. And speaking of living and learning, I got to tell you something. I know that you are not hot on this. I'm going to do my best to change that. But Arc Raiders has completely taken my life over. That is...
Sorry to hear that.
One of the best multiplayer experiences I've ever had. And they have built an incredible thing, and it just keeps getting better. There's a really rad community event happening right now. It just got updated today. I am so excited to stream it tomorrow night. That community is such a fascinating thing. Like the way that people have kind of made this game what they want it to be is such a fucking cool.
Where it's, for a game that is like a PvPvE thing, that there is a lot of don't shoot first. Like, it is a lot of like, hey, we're gonna collaborate on this thing, or you see something in the wild and it is like, oh, what do you need? How can I help you in a way that you don't normally get out of these types of video games? And I think that is cool. Yeah. Again, for me, this all gets tainted by the studio and especially the CEO of the studio, their feelings on AI, the way they've talked about AI. I think recently the CEO came out and said, like, oh, everybody's using it. You guys just don't know. And then a bunch of people came out and said, no. Not everybody's using it. You're trying to use us as cover. And it's like that. There's a lot of stuff that feels shitty and shady, and very little of it has to do with the video game itself, or at least the video
Yeah.
game in this form. I think the only AI parts in here, the generative AI parts, are like some of the barks, or like some of the voice stuff
where you
that's in
ping it.
there,
And you can also, I appreciate them doing this because I think it's allowed people to not be harassed. Every one of the arcs has like their own voice, and you can toggle a switch in the system settings that whenever you talk into your microphone, it is using the voice of the arc. And so people like females who get harassed in these types of games sound literally like a guy when they're playing, which is cool for them. Like they don't have to worry about that stuff, which sucks. But
yeah, I guess.
So it's just like an AI filter. I think it's an AI filter. I don't know if it's an AI thing. I'm just saying that because it's
the voice stuff, yes, is AI stuff.
But
from what I hear, and the rest of it is like, like the way the big machines move. That's like more of a machine learning thing that is very different from the kind of generative AI you're getting from the voice stuff. So really, the only problem is that they used AI in this relatively small part of the game, but the fact that they used it at all when it did not feel like it was really additive to the experience, and it's a game that's making lots of money, and to use that as like, well, it was a little cost saving thing. It's like, you make so much money on this game, you'll be fine.
I don't know where to draw a line on that stuff personally. It's really gray right now in a lot of ways.
It's a tough choice for everybody, and I realize that my line is probably closer and broader than many people's lines. So it's not.
Well, I think for me,
but I understand that there's a good game in there.
Yeah, I just feel like this year especially, and like I'm not trying to throw a pity party here, but it's been challenging to know, like I don't love that I have to think about like what can I play. And there's been a lot of conversation about Microsoft, BDS, AI in games, just mistreatment of developers, layoffs, like all this shit. And I mean, of course, we've been dealing with like, terrible sexual assault stuff. Like, I'm not trying to lump everything in, like, they're not all, I'm not here to say like one is better than the other, any of those things. What I'm trying to say is it fucking sucks to have to walk on eggshells in a way of like, is it okay to play this, or is this also involved in some really predatory, shitty bullshit? And that is like a very privileged thing to say. And it's difficult because we have to get together every week and talk about this industry in a positive way. We try to, at least. And it just sucks that like, like
it's tough to know. Like, sometimes we don't know, and we've played the game for hours, and then something comes out, and you go, should I stop playing it now? That feels weird.
Well, I mean,
and I get that feeling for sure. Like the thing to me is like, I understand that it kind of feels like homework to figure out is this game. Am I allowed to play this game?
Am I a baddie for playing this?
Right. But the thing I think about is that, yes, it has been a really shitty year, and longer than a year, honestly, of layoffs and weird corporate fuckery going on in lots of different ways. And if we just continue to play the games as normal, then that will just keep happening. And so I don't want to reward that behavior by giving it my time and money. So I would like to go back to a time where I could just play the games and have a good time with them. But I think to do that, at least for me, I feel like I need to do the work to show those companies why we're not going to reward or allow that behavior to continue, to get back to the kinds of games that
I get that. I appreciate it too. I just feel,
but this is your escape time. Like,
that's the thing. It's just like,
time. Why do I want to put work into my fun time?
Well, it's not only that piece of it. It's just like how bad shit has been broadly out there as well. So it's like the one thing that has kind of been the area that you look forward to going to escape and to unwind, to your point, is now been penetrated by the bad shit that a lot of the other industries, whether it be music, movie, or other, have been swimming in for decades. And so it's just, we hit the 40-year mark for modern gaming, in my opinion. Like, I think the NES home console, 40 years, all that shit, like right around there. It's a long run for all this, but to be specific, you should do the work. We try to do the work for you on this show. I am happy to learn, and I am happy to navigate however many potholes are on the road right now. It's exhausting for me. It's got to be exhausting more so for people dealing with it more, head to toe.
And to be clear, like, this is not Arc Raiders is not under some kind of BDS thing right now. Like, it is. I'm not going to say no one is going to shit on you for playing that game, but it is fine. Like, lots of people are playing that game, and it's
700,000 plus playing
totally. It's a very popular video game right now, and it's hard to fault somebody for wanting to play the cool new video game that's out that, outside of this AI stuff, which is, again, a pretty darn small part of this game, a very small aspect of it. That, does that supersede the real human effort that was put into this game by a lot of really smart and talented people who have been working on this for a long time? Should we let something like that ruin it for all of us, or ruin it for everything there? So I totally understand when people are like, yeah, no, I just want to play the video game. But I also understand my own point of view of like, yeah, I'm just going to draw the line. I'm not going to play this one.
Yeah. I think there's nothing wrong with anybody being on either side of that. Like, you're your own person. There's enough information out there for people to get informed on what they need to be informed on. Like, it is a little bit more work than it ever has been. And it's not that that's a bad thing. It's an unfortunate thing, is what I will say. It's unfortunate for a lot of reasons.
But I'm more than open to hearing about it. So I would like to hear about your experience of playing it.
Yeah, man, like, it's been off the charts. Like, to put it plainly, like, I've had some of the most organic, really fucking cool moments. Like, this is a game of moments for me at this point. Some of those are frustrating. I'm not going to, like, sugarcoat that. Like, there's a tension in the air with this game, but it's been
a game where you, like, die a lot, right? Like,
yeah, for sure. There's a lot of friction, and it's fun friction, but there's a lot of it there. And what I'll also just highlight is that personally, I've only been attacked, I think, in a lot of time. I'm like level 14 or 15 at this point. I think I've been attacked 2 times, and I've done a ton of runs. And, if you're playing this game solo, you're going to find people that are super fucking cool that will either leave you alone, see if you are looking for a particular quest item that they already have checked in, they can just give it to you, help you extract, help you if you are down. Like, there was a night where there's varying degrees and sizes of enemies that you have to look out for, and there's one big one in the early map, the dam, that's a walker. It's probably the one you've seen clips of, that jumps like a big giant spider and comes after you. I've stayed away from them because I'm not really fucking around with those things at this point in the game. But I found one person, they're like, yeah, I'll just run around with you if you don't mind. I'm like, yeah, cool, go for it. And then another person found us, and they're like, hey, are you all friendly? We're like, yeah. They're like, do you care if I just hang out with you? We're like, do it. We had 7 people that organically just posseed up. We were running around looting shit, and one of those big fucking spiders came, and we all killed it. It was fucking incredible. Like, we took this thing down. Everybody got a little slice of the pie. We all went and had this huge extraction, and the screen went black, and that was it. Like, I'll never play with those dudes again. Yeah. But we had this shared moment where we just happened to be in the same area. We all happened to be just wanting to have a good time with it. We got a bunch of cool loot. We saw a lot of the map. We took down a big thing that, like, I got a bunch of XP and popped an achievement for. It was just really fucking cool. But then, like, there's a time where I was, full up with, like, blueprints and shit, had a really good run. I got fucking downed, and a guy came up and, like, took me out and took my shit, and that was it. Mm-hmm. But the one thing I'll say before we get to these other games is they found a way to kind of remove that feeling of frustration in these types of extraction games. If you die and you lose all your stuff, you just go back and you get a free loadout. You get a gun, you get a shield, you get this. And even it feels so non-consequential then. It's like, I'm going to get a free loadout. I'm going to go find as much as I can. If I die, I die. Like, nothing's lost. But if I win, hey, I got all this stuff, quote unquote, for free. And there's a guy that lets you trade in the free loadout stuff to get a better loadout kit that like gives you the safe pocket to bring stuff back with. That's the other thing too. You get one slot early on that lets you save something even if you die. So you can kind of come back with your rarest gem if you need to.
Yeah.
It is the working 9-to-5ers extraction shooter, and I mean that in the best way possible. It's really cool.
Do you feel like from like when you've got 7 people all attacking this big spider robot thing, do you feel like you all have different like strengths and weaknesses and loadout stuff, like from like a Destiny class point of view, where I'd be the hunter and I'd put down the big arrow that would debuff everything, and then you might come in as the Titan and do like a big smashing thing, and then the
nothing like that
comes in and does something. So does it feel like it's just like 7 same kind of people with slightly different guns that are all doing stuff, or does it feel like, oh, this person has a rocket launcher, so they're doing like a DPS, and this one is, slowing it down in some way?
It's not about class or anything like that. It's all about what you bring to the party. And so there's strategies that you need to know for these enemy types, and there's different types of guns that you get that use different types of ammo. Some are better for a PvP perspective. Some are really good for, a PvE perspective. But I've also seen like the Queen, which is bigger than the thing I was talking about killing with 7 people. There's like this higher end. So like briefly, you're getting parts to level up your workbench, and the higher your workbench, and depending the higher quality blueprints you find, the deeper in the maps you go, you can just craft this shit. So there's this stuff that is like a higher tier. It's like a blaze trap that if you position it, 2 of them, which are very easy to do because they're just like sticky grenades, shoot it, you can literally one shot the Queen and take it down if you have that stuff equipped. Otherwise, you're going to need to work together. They're susceptible to fire, so you're going to want people to bring like fire type grenades. You want to have, if you're going after the Queen, you want to bring guns that can penetrate steel, not flesh. So you want to like pack the right shit. And depending on the strategies, you might cheese it a little bit, but there's nothing like a raid boss. There's nothing like I need to heal people. Like there's none of that shit in this.
Okay.
Everybody's even. So I'm having so much fun with it. It is one of the coolest things I've played this year. One of the probably like Helldivers was the last time, and it had been a really long time before Helldivers. But between Helldivers and this, I feel like the direction the multiplayer is going is really exciting to me. And I like the PvE VP stuff here, at least, is feeling really, really good and not toxic. I'll be pretty quick on this one, and then I'll have a little bit more of a conversation with you if we could on Hyrule. But Possessors, a game that you and I talked about in the preview. This is out by Heart Machine and published by Devolver, which is interesting. I don't think that's been the case for other games from them, but maybe I might be misremembering.
So, yeah.
You thought this looked cool, but you were concerned because it was a Metroidvania. And I don't know how much the cool factor will keep you happy about playing a Metroidvania, because this is a by the books Metroidvania, big time.
Yeah. By the way, Solar Ash was published by Annapurna, so they've kind of bounced around to different indie publisher things, it seems.
Good for them. That's cool. There's a lot riding on this game. Heart Machine has recently fell into some troubled times. They've had to do some layoffs, and they've completely stopped developing Hyperlight Breaker. This was being done at the same time, and I wonder if a studio this size juggling 2 big releases is just too much for them.
Possible.
But this is really slick, man. This is a very stylish video game. The writing is cool. The character design, I am like over the moon with. I think the like digital cyberpunk demon with kind of it's not the exact same, but the Citizen Sleeper talking heads is really fucking cool here. But it's also a very competent and fun to play. It's got a good game feel Metroidvania, and they do some engaging things on combat. So currently I'm using kitchen knives, which are like 2 daggers, but I got a whip, and you can pull enemies in closer and just like chop them up with those knives pretty quick. Enemy types so far, there's like 3. I've had 1 boss fight, and all of that feels pretty fresh. You are able to go back to a home base area to deposit currency that you'll be able to pull out and buy stuff if you want to, and that can be augmentations for your weapons. I have a corded mouse that is like a special attack that you kind of throw out like a yo-yo. And then I have a cell phone that does like a static disruption around you. So it's got this like weird early internet kind of cyberpunk vibe to it that meets anime is probably the best way I can explain.
I like that kind of like non-traditional.
Yeah.
Here's a bunch of like MacGyvered weapons almost.
Yes.
That we're finding ways of getting more use out of.
That is very fun. Like kitchen knives, a corded mouse, a cell phone, like all that stuff is really cool how they're doing it. I think that there's probably more innovative Metroidvanias. Like I think that last Prince of Persia with the map systems was really inventive. There's a lot of cool here, but there's not a lot of new here. Like I would say that this is a very solid, like not that we do point ratings here, but it's a strong 7 for me, possibly an 8, depending on what else you get to unlock with it. It's very, very good, very fine, somewhere in that range. But I don't know if it's enough to save the studio. That's the other piece of it.
Hey, Metroidvanias are pretty popular, so who knows?
But in the season of Hollow Knight, like I don't know if somebody was going to grab this over that. Maybe in addition to.
Yeah. Well, good thing it didn't come out when Silksong came
Oof.
out.
All right, time for the main event, Chase. There's a new Hyrule Warriors out, and man, where did that land for you? Because that was high on our our collective game of the year. That was high on the list.
Yeah, I liked. Was that Age of Calamity?
It was.
Yeah. I liked it a decent amount. I thought it had some cool ideas that it was able to blend the Dynasty Warriors Musou general style of gameplay with the Zelda ideas. And I played the first Hyrule Warriors as well, which is much less story driven thing and more of a traditional Dynasty Warriors games, just kind of with a Zelda skin over the top of it. But Age of Calamity really felt like it was telling a story in that kind of Breath of the Wild universe.
It was canonical.
Yeah, you're right. But it had some real character stuff in it as well. And obviously had Best Girl Impa dropping frogs on people, which is always fun. The reason I haven't picked this one up is kind of twofold. One, I tend to like have a Warriors experience and then be good for a while. And this year we've already gotten Dynasty Warriors Origins, which that came out pretty early in the year, but it is a game that I'm still familiar with. It's still a game I'd like to go back to and play with the other two armies at some point. Because I only went through the Woo campaign. And that game is also getting DLC, I believe, early next year, where it's getting the Yellow Turban campaign. They just announced that pretty recently, or they've announced it before, but I think they announced a release date at the State of Play Asia thing that Sony just put out. And then there's also a Dynasty Warriors 3 remake that's coming out next year as well, I believe. And that one I'm super jazzed about. So I don't want to really Warriors myself out at this point. And two, I don't feel like I played enough. I played quite a bit of Tears of the Kingdom, but I don't feel like I played enough Tears of the Kingdom to really understand the story implications that might be going on more in this game. I know this is kind of like, oh, what happened to Zelda when she wasn't, around?
Yeah.
And it's you kind of in the past kicking a bunch of ass with Zelda, right?
Yeah. That is true. And in the game there's 12 tiers, I believe 12 or 13 tiers that you collect, and you get a video story of like, that's kind of how they did it in Breath of the Wild. Like you have
to use the camera and find those different spots on the map. Gotcha.
And that's where you got like the actual story beats of Tears of the Kingdom. So you could get
Which felt weird to like hide it behind these
correct
find a photo puzzles.
correct.
but I guess I
But
understand.
the tears have way more meaning knowing the source of where they came from.
Sure.
But in this, so you know that you have those like story beats in Tears of the Kingdom. These all kind of take place in between those. And Zelda does go back in time to like the original kingdom of Hyrule with the Zonai, and they're going through that. So Rauru and Minoru, and you're hanging out with them, which I think you probably met even at that point of the game that you played.
Yeah, I know those characters.
So you get to play as them this time around, which is really exciting because they always just felt very benevolent and very badass, and they felt like a different ilk of type, like compared to the Zeldas and the Impas. Like they just felt, this feels very formal. They feel very put together. They have these crazy powers. Like they seem rad, and they are. Like Rauru has an awesome light spear that he plays with. That the sword from Fire Emblem Three Houses, how it kind of extended and became a whip almost. Yeah. The end of his sword can do that, and he has all kinds of fun from like an AoE perspective. But this is very, very much so a sequel to Age of Calamity. It feels very much the exact same way, which is great for me because I love that formula, which is you're going to these battles and you're getting all the materials that you would get in Breath of the Wild. And in this one, it's Tears of the Kingdom. And then that comes back in to let you upgrade your weapons and craft. And in this one, just like Tears of the Kingdom, the Zonai constructs are present. So you can get the like flame emitter, you can get the ice emitter, you can get the rocket. And it's pretty badass because they also go into weak points and different types of like template matching in this game. So if you're going up against an enemy that is covered in the sludge that the Zora were up against, you can get this hydrant out and you can run around the battlefield and use this. And it has a battery the same way that the constructing would be. So like, you remember how like your rockets could only go as long as the battery power you had on them? Mm-hmm. So you have a
stamina system. Sure.
Yeah, this is kind of like a rechargeable stamina in this game. But what's awesome is you can put it on the ground and it's just shooting out water or fire or electricity. And then I can go and do a bunch of attacks around it. That feels great. They've also done this link up attack. So every character is building up kind of their ultimate, but also they're getting enough of this build up that when you're on the battlefield, you kind of see this arrow with the L trigger pointing in the direction. And you can team up and do this really big attack on the enemy, which feels great.
And that was in Origins as well, like where you like, oh, Guan Yu's like ready to go,
yes.
And then you could do like a team up big Musou attack. That's similar. So it is cool that they're bringing in those innovations in.
That feels good. The story stuff I've really enjoyed. All the voice actors are back here, which feels great. Matt Mercer as Ganondorf, of course, is a really awesome performance. But I don't know where all the story stuff's going. So far Link is obviously not there, but he kind of is.
Box, right? So like, are you playing?
He's on. Well, spoilers, but you remember?
Spoil me, Daddy.
Did you get all of the like potential party people in like Tears of the Kingdom? Did you get the big construct?
No, it's
okay.
Not.
So there's a giant like Zonai construct that you can get. There is a construct link, Chase, and I don't quite know what they're doing with this, because it is 100% the exact same move set from Link in Age of Calamity. It's the same shape as Link. It's the same everything, but it's not, and I don't quite know what's going on here with it. So I'm finding that very interesting. I'm like, this is completely foreign to me. I don't quite understand why we're doing this here, but I love this game. I'm having so much fun with it. It's an easy win. Zelda's my favorite franchise of all time, but I like these kind of like, it feels like fan fiction in a way, and it feels like a rare B-side to the record. And like, what was some of the ideas that maybe you didn't just show in Tears of the Kingdom? And were you thinking about this game already when you were doing Tears of the Kingdom? Did you know you were going to do another one? And did you want to have these stories feel the way that they do right now? I find it very fascinating to see how they're chopping things up right now.
Yeah. I would consider playing it, but one, I already feel a little bad because I didn't really finish well, I didn't finish Tears of the Kingdom, but I didn't finish Age of Calamity either. And that I think if I were to play another one of these right now, I would probably play the Fire Emblem one, right? The one that kind
Oh,
of takes place in between. I know that
do you get to
people
be a
feel,
Korok that's like an elementalist? And do you get Minoru, who
buddy, you like Zelda. I like Fire Emblem.
that's
Like I
fair.
care about Petra. I care
But I
about
heard the new one
Freya
wasn't very good. Is that true?
I I believe it was better than the first Fire Emblem Warriors game.
This is the Three
It,
Houses one, right?
yeah, Three Hopes, I think is what
Yeah.
it's called. But
Yeah.
it takes place in between the time skip between in Three Houses. So like what
I can
happens
see
with the
that.
big war stuff.
Yeah.
And I played a demo of it and it seemed fine. But I think at that time I also wasn't really looking for a Warriors game. And also I like the Three Kingdoms. Like
That's fair.
like that's my shit is I want to play with Guan Yu and Gan Ning and my boys. And I have a game like that right now. So it really makes justifying purchasing a game like this a little tough for me. But if I didn't have those games, I think I would like this a lot because I like these kinds of games. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm sure a lot of people are pissed that they keep like these are popular games that just
Yeah.
kind of keep getting made with every fucking franchise. There's a Dragon Quest one, there's a Persona one,
I mean, I think even the bad ones do numbers, right? Like,
oh yeah, like they all sell. They
yeah.
all sell pretty darn well. They wouldn't have made so many of them if they didn't sell. But I know people are like, could we please have a better kind of game be the flagship of like, can we Fortniteify something else, please? And I'm over here going like, I don't know, like these are pretty good.
So two more quick things before we move on. One,
Sure.
do you remember in the game when Ganon makes the first blood moon? Did you get to that point?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. It's an awesome cutscene, first of all, but it's pretty spectacular to have them just do like they literally use the same cutscene from Tears of the Kingdom. Mm-hmm. And then you immediately have to go into like, what the fuck? There's like all these monsters. Like it's a very different perspective about like, holy shit, how are we going to do this? Where you're then fighting through those waves. And that's when the game really kicks up. So good on them for that. This is also a Switch 2 exclusive. So this is not on the original Switch. And it runs really good, man. I know that was a thing on the last one. It did not run very well. But this is locked in at 60 frames a second. It works really good in handheld. The screen looks great. Having it docked is even better. But yeah, this runs at 4K 60 if you do have that type of television or monitor, and it will set you back $70. But Switch 2 only. And I think it is worth, like, if you are on the fence of like, I need some cool games like Donkey Kong and Hyrule Warriors. I mean, Mario Kart's fine, but those two have been the big ones. Next month, we'll see if Metroid delivers, but I think we're kind of getting. Oh, Pokemon's been really good too. I've had a good time with that. Like, those are fun.
Real Kirby's Air Riders, like shade over here,
dude. I was not of the age to appreciate that one. I'm afraid. I think
neither was I. Like, I didn't play that
really
original game until
I felt like that. That's like one of those things where we're close enough in age, but far enough apart that like certain cultural things just slid by one another. I thought for sure. You would have had Kirby's.
I played that game for that was one of my monthly games for the wheel.
Yeah.
But no, I remember seeing that in magazines and thinking it looked really fucking cool.
I mean, people are kind of high on it. I mean, I know people are excited for it. So
that first game was interesting when I gave it a shot. I was a little turned off by it though. I still think it's weird to have two racing games, no matter how different they are. Like be two of Nintendo's flagship.
I think that's strange too. I agree. All right. Speaking of weird things, Chase, PlayStation Portal.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to say I made this happen, but I kind of feel like I did. I finally caved and picked one of these up just when it was getting good.
Yeah.
let,
Oh,
let,
yeah. Everybody's clamoring.
let the record state, I do think the PlayStation Portal is a very good device, well built. I don't quite know if it's for everybody, but I think it just made a step in a direction that makes it a little bit more interesting. And here's why. Software update 6.0 for the PlayStation Portal unlocked this ability, depending on your subscription status to PlayStation Plus, to stream your games over internet to this device without having a physical PlayStation 5 in your ownership. So my brain immediately went this way. It went, hey, that's a pretty inexpensive way to play PlayStation 5 games. If you have the infrastructure and you don't have the $600 to get a PlayStation 5, you could buy one of these and you could stream these games to it and have day and date all those games available to you on the PlayStation 5. That is an interesting thought game. But do I think that this is the way people want to experience those games? I'm not here to say that. There's been an uptick in cloud-only handhelds recently, but you still don't get to take these games on the bus, on the trip, into an environment where you do not have stable internet. So you get all of your PlayStation 5 games. Well, not all of them, but I think most of them right now. They had the cloud streaming of like the classics that they offer. So that's there. And if you have a PlayStation 5, you can stream from your console any game that is physically in it or downloaded to it to this device. So what they've done is they've cut the PlayStation 5 requirement out to a degree, but they've made that go behind, I think, one of the higher, if not the highest tiers of the PlayStation Plus subscription. This does not change a single thing for you, more than likely, on this device. And I wonder if there are people out there that maybe are currently on Xbox, or maybe are only on Switch, or maybe they're a PC gamer that sees this now as like, hey, I was going to get a PlayStation eventually. Maybe I'll grab this and I'll play games that way. But I don't quite know. I've tried it. I decided to give it a shot just to test, to talk about it. So I did a month of whatever version of that online subscription it is.
Extra or whatever. Yeah.
It works pretty fucking good.
I bet it does.
Like, all things considering that this is streaming only, it worked pretty and I played Ghost of Yote, which is a pretty timed precision block parry, and I had no issues. I had all the haptic feedback with it. It was kind of a wild experience to have that capability here. But I'm stupid. I'm in a good situation where I could buy this dumb shit.
I mean, you also have a setup or a lifestyle that I think allows for a device like this in a way that some people don't.
Correct.
You know, as a person who lives alone, I don't need to worry about my partner watching the TV and taking up that space. I don't have to worry about where I play my video game in my home. And you have a spouse, you have dogs, you have things going on. You can't always be in front of your PC playing games. You know, sometimes I know that you've talked about wanting to, you know, watch something with your partner.
Yeah.
And it's nice that you can be there on the couch with them as you play a video game. And this thing gives you, in a very Wii U sort of sense, like it's
a great way to look at it.
You can be on the TV and I can have this and we can still be together. And it makes a little bit more sense that way. For me, I need to play the portable thing outside of my house. Like that's
what I said. If this
useful to me,
let you natively play those games on it, you would probably have this the day it came out.
Possibly, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But like that's not what this device was designed for. And I don't think they can patch in any way to do that because the device doesn't have that.
It doesn't have a hard drive
on it. It doesn't have the hardware. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it can't really.
And I think that they're working on that. I think that's what they're working
on. Absolutely. Yeah. Whether it's the PSP2 or the Vita 2 or a new name altogether. Yes, I believe Sony is working on some kind of next generation handheld. and we'll see whatever the hell that is. But yeah, like this is for me still a device that has no purpose for my life. But I think that's interesting to bring it up as a potential like console variant. Like you don't have to. It reminds me a little bit of the PlayStation TV, which was kind of this in the opposite direction.
Correct.
Of like, oh, I have these games downloaded, but I didn't really want to buy a Vita for it, or I want to be able to play these games on a TV on my television. So it's nice to have this little box that can connect and play those games there. And you're kind of just doing the opposite way of like, oh, well, what if I could take these games off a TV but still have them locally to play that way?
I mean, that's kind of it's got the microphone. It's got the ability to use headphones with it. You could theoretically even download Discord, I think. Well, you'd have to have a PlayStation for that. Never mind. So you could do Discord on your mobile phone if you're partying that way, or just use the PlayStation and chat. But there's ways to do it. Like, once upon a time, I could have easily been playing Destiny with you a hell of a lot more on this thing, but
you could have. You wouldn't, but
I wouldn't. I've played Destiny in some very silly ways, but anyway, I think it's cool that they're adding stuff to that to make it more enticing. And the more that they do with software, especially for like, I'm not as into this thing as like a lot of the people who own it are. And as I was like trying to learn about this, you kind of get into some forums with really enthusiastic people, and they're like, yeah, this thing's been great. But like now they're like seeing that value returned in a way that they didn't feel maybe before. I don't quite know. Like the community seems to be very excited about it. But speaking of putting things on televisions where you normally wouldn't, Chase, the console wars are back, baby. R.I.P. the console.
Are they really?
I don't know. I think that's a very silly thing to think about. But Valve, out of left field, kind of, on a Wednesday, it's just like, hey, we got a bunch of new hardware. We've got
the announcement at least was out of left field for sure.
Yeah, I think people have probably been speculating for a while, given the runaway success that the Steam Deck has been, that they would maybe enter back into the hardware. So for those of you who are unaware, are aware, Valve announced 3 new pieces of hardware on Wednesday. They have introduced the return, I should say, of the Steam Machine. This time it is a 6x6 cube. So people have lovingly referred to it as the Gabe Cube, which I think is fun. And they are building the hardware that they are touting as 6 times more powerful than the Steam Deck, but built on a similar architecture. It will run video games at 4K 60. It comes in a 512 gigabyte and a 2 terabyte model, has expandable user updatable memory. You can also put a micro SD card in it. You can actually swap the micro SD card between your Steam Deck and the Steam Machine simultaneously if you'd like to do that, and just take stuff with you that way. They also introduced the Steam Frame, which is their Meta Quest-like streamable VR headset. So you can put things on it, it sounds like, but it's really designed to stream from a PC, Steam Machine, or a Steam Deck. So I think they're called Lunas. They're like AR glasses that you plug into a Nintendo Switch or your phone for like on an airplane. When you're wearing them, you're looking at like a 110-inch screen. It's not VR. It's just a way to play on a big screen with your handheld. So it can be that for the Steam Deck. It can be that for the Steam Machine. If you're downstairs in the area and you want to play it, somebody else is watching TV, you could go that route or just use your Steam Deck. No prices. Oh, and they also redesigned the Steam controller to look a lot more like a truncated version of the Steam Deck without the screen.
I think the controller is the coolest part.
I do too. Like, I've seen the
last
last
Steam controller that they made, which was interesting, like not having like analog sticks, but having just the trackpads there was kind of interesting. But this one seems more like a very fully functional controller. Like you said, it is very much like they just took the 2 sides of the Steam Deck controller and kind of smashed them together into a pretty ergonomic looking package.
Yeah.
Like it seems like a solid controller.
It does. It's coming out Q1 2026. It does not have a price point yet. It's being speculated to be comparative probably to a PC equivalent if you were going to build a PC. maybe a little bit less. I think the Steam Deck start at 400 and they go up to 600 or 700 now. I don't remember. You mind pulling that up? Can you pull up Steam Decks and see what the most expensive one is?
Sure.
Because they came out with the OLED model that had a 1 terabyte or a 2 terabyte. I think it's like a Valve edition one. But
there are 3 versions of the Steam Deck. There is a $399 version LCD that's 256 gigabytes. There is the $550 OLED 512 gigabyte, and then there is the $649 terabyte OLED version.
So I think that a few things to call out here. They're going to sell bundles. They're going to sell one of these without a controller, because you can use any Bluetooth or Windows-based controller with it if you want to. Like, that's not a problem. They're going to sell a bundle with a controller. They're probably going to sell a bundle with like other shit together. Like, if they're smart, they'll probably do that, which they are. Pricing, I think, is going to be up there with like the PS5 Pro into probably like, I would love to see this be closer to $500. I think it's going to probably be closer to that $750 mark, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Which I think is an interesting standpoint. If you look at where, like, let's talk about the Steam Deck for a quick second. It starts at $400. Microsoft just announced their partnership with ROG to do the Ally Xbox edition. That starts at $550 and goes all the way up to $1,000. A lot of the competition in that handheld PC market is north of $1,000. The Xboxes themselves, I think, have gone up to like $700. The PlayStation 5 Pro, I'm pretty sure, is $750. So I think that the only console currently that is sub $500 is the Nintendo Switch 2. And so we're talking very different swings than we were a decade ago. But because I think 10 years ago is when the Steam machine first came out, if I'm not mistaken. You mentioned,
did a Steam machine actually come out, or did it wasn't like Steam made a machine. It was that
I think it was Alienware that made it. I'm pretty sure.
Like third-party companies made something
Correct.
to specs that Valve put out and said you can call any of these Steam machines if you make them like this, and we'll give them like a
yes.
approval.
And now this, like, that's, I think, the most impressive thing here is Valve has put out all their own hardware. That is very interesting to me. And I think the timing is also very interesting. They've been collecting so much. Like, dude, that Steam Deck it's so gangbusters popular. Everybody fucking loves that thing. And they've got good data on how people are using it and how often they're using it and what that looks like, to where they're like, yeah, we could probably put this stuff out. Let's do that. And I think now the rumors are the next Xbox is going to be a PC hybrid. That's going to be about $1,200 is what people are saying. PlayStation is certainly going to be, if the Pro 5 is $750, I think that we can expect the next PlayStation 6 to be more expensive.
Yeah, we'll see. There's so many factors on that. I think Sony just recently came out to try to disillusion people a little bit, and they're like, "Oh, the PS5's like only halfway through its life cycle," but like, what does that mean? The PlayStation 4, I guess, is still technically in its life cycle at this point. So that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Plus, we've got tariffs and all sorts of
all kinds of unpredictable shit. Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of don't trust any dollar value stuff, especially of stuff that's years away, because lots of things could happen. My real question with some of this stuff is, I understand it in theory. I understand that if you're targeting a chase from a decade ago or 5 years ago, even, that I could understand how this gets me. I'm such a console gamer, I want something easy, I just want to plug it into my TV and still be able to play the games, and it's nice that all the PC games are on PC, but I don't like fiddling with all the PC stuff. So I get like the, hey, it's all in one box for you, you just have to buy this thing and it's so easy, but it also feels like that flies in the face of the point of PC gaming entirely. I understand it a little bit more with the Steam Deck of like this is a different way to play your PC games. You can play it on the road. It's into like a completely different form factor. But when this is something that you're putting on a TV or hooking up to a monitor in the same way that you would with a PC, um, I kind of just wonder why. Why would I buy this instead of an actual PC that I could do all sorts of, computer stuff on and play the video games
I
on. And then also knowing that a lot of PC culture is upgrading that machine over time, over time, over time, and that when you have a 6x6 box that Valve has put in, you said there's like upgradable memory and some stuff like that, but
yeah.
you're not upgrading all the pieces in the way that you would in a more traditional PC. It does feel like that puts a certain clock on how long you can play this until somebody goes, oh well, those specs are out of date now. In the same way that you would with a console, but the
Yeah, I mean,
consoles are
yeah.
kind of made more to that.
I think we're kind of there though. Like the way I see it, this is going to be priced close enough to a console, maybe just above it, but certainly lower by PC costs. And it's going to put out the 4K 60, which is pretty impressive at that price point. Like, and they do all kinds of the crazy thing is like I've opened up Steam times and they're like, hey, time for a hardware. We're going to do an analysis of your hardware and we're going to learn from it. I'm like, yeah, go for it. Do whatever you got to do. They got enough data and you can see like where you compare to other examples that they have collected. Dude, most people are playing still at like a 1080p low setup.
Sure. And, but also like what games are they playing? Because they're not going to be able to play some of these
they're playing
games
like
because they have different setups.
They're playing
playing World of Warcraft does not require that much of a beefy machine, right? So
no, certainly not. But I think that what the good thing I will say about the Steam OS is it will let you know pretty quickly what's going on and it'll help you get the profiles downloaded to set that game up for the hardware you're on.
Yeah. I imagine for a long time that this is going to be fine. That Valve has put out the specs of this thing.
Totally.
They haven't mentioned if there's going to be like different versions. If there's going to be, here's the one with more memory on it. Or
there's two SKUs. They've got there's one that has so far the only difference is a 5. It's not like a faster processor or anything. So one has 512
hard drive. Okay.
Yep. One's a 512. One's a 2 terabyte. SD card on the front, and you can put a bigger hard drive in the back if you want to. So like those are cool things, but
yeah, but like the specs are going to mostly be the specs, and that's going to be useful in a very console style way for developers to go, we know people are buying this thing, or that is the goalposts. Like we're making it to these specs because we know that the Steam machine runs that. And maybe they'll continue to stay at those specs for a while longer, in the same way that when you develop for a PS5, you know what those are, and you know that you're going to continue on those PS5 specs until they make a Pro, but you're still making PS5 playable games. But at some point, it's just a little bit weird to me that because from my perspective, PC gaming is stuff that is always evolving. And that the point of the PC is that we're finding the cutting edge, and that everybody plays on slightly different specs, but the idea is that everybody gets a little better as they go on. And the consoles are not like little tiny steps; they're like big chunk steps. So the nice part about buying a console is you get one big chunk, and okay, for the next 5 years, I don't have to buy another thing other than video games. And PCs always feel like, to me, that it's the kind of people who buy them are the ones who are like, oh, well, I'm going to now upgrade this little part. Now I'm going to upgrade this little part.
I mean,
it's like a ship of Theseus thing. And I'm sure people aren't like that. I know I'm not. I have a PC now, and I haven't touched it since it was built for me. And I don't plan on touching it anytime soon, if ever.
Here's my counter argument, though. Since the last 2 generations, we've had the PlayStation 4, then the PlayStation 4 Pro. We had the Xbox, then we had the Series X. We had the Switch, then we had the Switch OLED. We've got the PlayStation 5, now the PS5 Pro. We've got the Xbox handheld. Like they're iterating in weird ways now. That is,
we have, but one, I think that is PC culture seeping into the console market, and two,
sure.
I think that is console makers being fucking desperate to sell something because
Yeah.
the economy is fucking terrible.
But
so, like,
at the same time, I think it's like it's definitely opened up, like even this generation, like having to go in and decide, like, am I doing ray tracing? Am I doing 30 frames? Am I doing quality, performance? Like all these weird in-game menus that have started to pop up, even on consoles, feel cumbersome in a way. Is like, I never had to think about this shit. So
you know how you talked about, like, at the beginning of the show, where it's like our creators like, sometimes I just want to play the video game and I don't have to do the work to figure out like what I'm allowed to play. For
Same
me,
thing.
It's like I don't want to do the work of figuring out
and I think that's why
can fucking run. I just want to play the video game.
That's why I think this thing is going to be fan fucking tastic.
It could be
for that reason right there.
For people who are too scared to build their own PCs, like me, I understand why this is an interesting thing, that they hear their buddies talking about some PC game that their console doesn't get or wouldn't be able to play. And so this is an option that they now are able to get and play with those things.
It's wild to see the ecosystem, because I've worked for a company that called the iPod the Halo. And basically it's like, oh, you have an iPod, you'll obviously want to use a Mac now. And it kind of worked. And I think people who are like, oh, I have PC games on my Steam Deck, I can now have this thing and have those same games I've been getting, but on my TV at home, and I can just have this going back and forth. Like,
that's interesting. Do you think, because I don't think that Steam Deck users are the primary audience for this. I feel like the people who have Steam Decks are going to keep using their Steam Decks and less have like, oh, this is my home console version of my Steam Deck. I know that's possible based on what you said.
I think that people, so like where I've been seeing things, and like this is me talking also, this is how I'm looking at it. You've been in my house, Chase. I want this thing down in the basement. I want this on the TV in the basement so I can sit on the couch and have that console experience if I don't want to sit at my desk and play at night. So like I want one of these in my basement very badly, so I can have that. But also I can put this in my bag, and I can take this with me, and I can plug it at my parents' house. I can take it with me and I go to an Airbnb. I can have my Steam Deck to play like traveling if I want to, and you can dock that. But if this thing is 6x6, fuck, that's not a very big I can throw that in my bag and take it and have all my shit on it and ready to go at a better opportunity. That sounds cool to me.
I wonder how offline play functions.
Oh, it would like as long as
Steam Deck has abilities to play stuff offline.
Yeah. So I'm very curious. I think the price is going to dictate it. If it's in that $500 to $800 range, which I'm probably wishing it to be, I'll consider strongly getting one. But I think it's interesting to see Valve beating Microsoft to this space of like, let's put a PC under in the living room. Like that's what we want to do, and we want to do it in an elegant and thoughtful way. And we want to give people a budget entry point to have that experience. And they really just want people in their ecosystem. They want people in that ecosystem buying their Steam games, pumping up the numbers on that service. But you get all the Next Fest demos, man. You get all the early access with it. You get all the PlayStation stuff a year later on this. Like, you get all those things, and you get the big summer sales and the fall sales. You get all that shit.
You do, but you only get that stuff if it has controller support, right?
No, you don't. This gets a mouse and keyboard as well.
Yeah, but mouse and keyboard. But that's not how people play consoles.
I mean, they could.
Your idea is like, oh, I want to put something under my TV and play it like a console. You don't want a mouse and keyboard. Like, yes, you can make it.
But the controller could work for it too with the touchpads. That's not how I'd want to do it.
Right, but you have to configure, like on a Steam Deck, you generally have to configure stuff or like download configurations to make some of those things work. And if we're talking about like Next Fest demos, those are things that are obviously not polished because they're demos.
Yeah.
And they often will not have some of those bells and whistles that you'd get.
I think it'll work just fine for folks. I could even see Valve putting out an accessory that's like, hey, here's a keyboard and like trackpad combo if you want that. Or
I think it will. I think it will probably force and or encourage developers to build to this kind of SKU, knowing that there would be an audience that has it, depending on how well it sells, obviously. In a similar way to the Steam Deck being something that people target
sure.
in terms of specs. But again, for me, the PC is a place where people are experimental, and it's because it is so open and functions in so many different ways, and that when you try to close that system off by having, here's a box that plays it all, or here's a handheld unit that plays it all, we've seen with the Steam Deck. And I've played the Steam Deck. I enjoy the Steam Deck. I think it's a cool piece of hardware. But there have also been frustrations with the Steam Deck of, at least early in its life cycle, what can I play, what can't I play. They finally then came up with the, here's the different icons that show you what's playable or what's possible to even run at all, or what's unknown. And and knowing that there's going to be a similar kind of function, I imagine, for these Steam machines, of some things are probably not going to run on the Steam machine for one reason or another, and some will probably work just fine, or some might need to be changed in some way, or you might not be able to get the full experience without a keyboard and mouse or something like that. And I think it's mostly going to be fine, because most of the games that people are going to download from Steam are going to be the new flashy AAA titles that will work just fine on one of these things, because they're basically console games anyway. But from a me perspective, knowing that I, am dabbling in older shit or more obscure shit, or little experimental stuff, that I bet those things are going to be a little bit more difficult to make run on a system like this, in the same way that they're a little bit more difficult to run on a Steam.
I mean, I think it's going to be seen as a PC, where the Steam Deck seen as something else. Like, this will be treating Steam games a little bit differently. So we'll see. I really want to know what the controller experience is like to use the trackpad for, like, an RTS or something, like, because I did on the Steam Deck. It was weird at first, but I got used to it. We'll see. I'm very curious. Price point's going to say a lot. Compatibility, to your point. But it's exciting to see this happening, especially as Microsoft has been declining a bit. Like, I don't want people to feel like, oh, Microsoft's building a hybrid, I got to go back to them. Like, it's nice that Steam's like, well, you could just do what we're doing. Like, come over here and play if you're looking for something like that.
Yeah, Valve's like, oh, we'll be happy to monopolize the market even just a little bit more. We love that idea.
Yes, 100%.
People don't completely hate us in the way they completely hate lots of other console manufacturers.
Yet.
Absolutely.
Well, there's a lot to unpack this week.
Bobby, though, one question. Does this launch with Half-Life 3?
That is like also the conversation I'm seeing out there.
Valve's always like, oh, we got to release like a new game that really shows off the hardware that we have.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what they could do? They will absolutely not launch.
What if they did like a new Portal?
I don't think they'll do that either. I think the best you could hope for is Left 4 Dead. What would it be? 4, 3?
What was the multiplayer game?
Team Fortress.
Do a new Team Fortress.
Yeah, Team Fortress makes a little bit of sense as well.
Well, they also didn't launch that. They had that other multiplayer game that they were doing playtests for. That real, like, kind of it was kind of a Overwatch like. People really liked it. I know that much.
You talking about Valorant?
Nope. That's another company.
That is another company. Yeah, I don't remember Valve.
I'll
games. I'm
I'll
sure
look it up
because everybody fucking is. But
I wonder if that. I mean, that could be a launch title for it. I could see that being a thing.
We'll see. I mean, this is new hardware is generally when Valve says like, oh, let's put a game out there. So I'd be interested to see what game they want to market with this.
It is called
Dota 2.
It's a mix of MOBA and shit. What is it called? I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, let's talk about this week. We had that bad experience with Dead Finger Dice on Monday night. Again, apologies, Chase. Thursday, though, here tonight, we talked about a lot of video games. We talked about some new hardware and some software updates as well. That was a good time. And tomorrow night, if you want to come back and hang out with us, I'm going to be playing Arc Raiders and going over some of the new community stuff to try and unlock that new map, which I'm very excited about. But Chase, you are a busy bee. What do you got going on, and what do the people need to know about you?
Yeah, I've got my YouTube channel, Chase Cape Plays, where I'm currently playing through Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 1. It's been pretty good so far, playing on the dark side. Got off the first planet in this last episode that just went up yesterday, so excited about that. Got a lot of party members now, and game's cool.
It's very cool.
It's been a long time since I played it, but that game continues to be cool.
Hell yeah.
Pilot Program, the podcast I do with my good friend Pierce Porshane, good friend of the show. That's on a bit of a hiatus. Very easy for me to say. As Pierce is busy, he's got a lot of stuff going on between work and home stuff. So we're just kind of taking a break. I don't know when we're going to record our next episode. It's going to be on Friday Night Lights.
Fun.
So whenever Pierce is ready to go, we'll knock that out. I'm hoping we can find a time in December to get that done, but who really knows?
Yeah.
And then fuck it. I've got another YouTube channel that I started called Common Knowledge MTG, where I am talking I'm talking about the pauper format in Magic the Gathering, the format where you can only use commons. I've fallen in love with that format. It's my favorite way to play Magic now. And I didn't see a ton of content out there just looking at a bunch of common cards. So I decided, be the change you want to see in the world. So now every weekday I am putting out a video that's somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes long, where I look at 10 pauper playable cards a day and just tell you if they're any good or not, or like what decks you could put in them. And that's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun for me, who took a long break from Magic the Gathering, like when I went to college and after college. So it had a number of years where I just wasn't playing. So there's a bunch of cards that I don't really have a whole lot of experience with. So it's been cool to just hit randomize and see what cards pop up. And sometimes I get a card like, oh yeah, I remember playing that one. I like this card. And sometimes it's I've never seen this card in my fucking life, but let's talk about it. And that's been a lot of fun. So
hell yeah,
go check out those. And then I also, as part of that, I just recorded it tonight, in fact, but I did a whole look at all of the new set from Magic the Gathering that's about to come out. That is the Avatar: The Last Airbender set, both the regular one and the Eternal cards, which is kind of its own set. So I looked at 150 cards, and I'm about to put out a video of just that. So if you like the 10 cards videos, who knows? Maybe you'll like 15 times as much as that in one video. I'm sure it's a lot of fun. So go check out that too. It's Common Knowledge MTG.
Right on.
CK. Those are my initials. See?
Hell yeah.
I'm a smart guy.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by. We'll be back tomorrow.